Instagram. Call everyone for this last live on this series of Conversations in Business and Joy of Business. And it has been so amazing. I've had so many different guests from all over the world. And yes, what they have in common is that they are Joy of Business facilitators. They create their business in different ways. They are all over the world, and I'm so happy that today I have Mr. Brendon Watt. Yes, he is going to be telling us about business, how he creates his business, how he used to create his business. I know that he is in an amazing place right now. He's going to tell us. And yes, whoever is watching this in the future, please know that if you're interested in taking classes with Joy of Business facilitators, that they are all over the world in so many different languages. You can find more about them on the Joy Business website, on the Access Consciousness website. And what would it take really for us to create businesses in our own way, with joy, with with so much gratitude for who we are and what we can bring into the world. So Brendon, come in. Hello, Brent. I got a chair that it makes me just want to be moving around. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, darling. How are
How are
you?
you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great. I was telling everyone, where
I
are
know,
you? Tell us, where are you
I
now?
was I was listening. Well, why don't I just do this? And why don't I show you?
Yes,
Okay?
please.
Because you got to see, I can just say I'm at El Lugar, but that's people will be like, El what? Look at this.
Oh, look at El Lugar. Isn't that amazing?
Isn't
It's
it just
beautiful.
isn't it just something else?
It is, it
So
is.
that's where I am right now. There you
That
go.
is that is so cool. Thank you for giving us some of the energy of Elgar, which
You're
is
welcome.
just unique. Brendan, thank you for joining me in this conversation. You are my last guest. I've been talking to Joy Business Facilitators for this month, and it's been so great. Everyone started their business in their own way. And my question to you is, how did you start your business? What did you do before you becoming Access Consciousness Facilitator and Joy Business Facilitator and all that?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Australia, and basically I was told that all I could ever do was become a tradesman, So
Uh-huh.
I was a floor and wall tiler
Oh, wow.
for like 12 years before I found Access, and so I started Access and I was like, maybe this isn't all I can do, and Gary Douglas, founder of Access, he used to poke me all the time, and he would say, "You're just a tradie," and I would be like, and when he would say it, I was like, oh, I get so pissed off because I was like, no, I'm not. I know I'm more than that, but I wasn't choosing more than that.
Yeah.
And so he would push this button and push this button and push this button until one day, I really started choosing things different, and that was when I, started being an access facilitator.
So before you start choosing things and having the tools, how was it for you to become a trader? This is it was the done deal. This is what the energy was to have that business in Australia.
With Yeah, well, yeah, that was it.
That was
I
it.
got out of school. I got out of school and I got straight into um, basically an apprenticeship with this, and it was kind of exciting in the beginning. It
Mm,
was like I was making money. I was like, I was having fun.
yeah.
And then it's like it went on, and it's like I knew that there was so much more. I mean, I remember as a little kid just being like, oh, I just want to contribute to the world, and that was what, like, even as a 4, 5, 6 year old kid, that was what was enthusing to me. So I knew there must be more out there. And I found Access right at a time where I was just so ready to give up on my life anyway.
Yeah.
I was miserable.
Hmm. Yeah. And once you found access and once you started to, I'm guessing, facilitate it after you've done the class and so on, how did you look at access as your business or as a
Well,
way that,
I remember the first. the first Access facilitators class that I went to, I was just like, I went to it because it was an Access class. I mean, I
Yeah.
loved Access classes. They changed my life every time I went to one. But I was like, I'm not going to be one of those facilitators. Those guys are nuts, you know. They're
I love
crazy.
that.
They're doing all this weird
And I'm
shit, and
not crazy.
and I'm not crazy. So I'm so normal. I've done everything I can for the last 30 years to prove that I can be normal. Um, and so I was like, I'm not doing that. You guys can do that. I'm going to sit on the sideline. So that went on for, I don't know, a couple of years until I remember the first foundation. Well, no, the first bars class I facilitated. There was two people in my living room, and I was just terrified
Yeah.
because I still had so much of this point of view about myself that I was holding on to, which was just, why would anybody want to listen to me? How do I have any value?
Yeah. And that completely changed, right?
Well, yeah, and it still changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still I mean, it's such a becoming more of who you truly are is an ongoing journey,
Yeah.
and it's the same with, like, we live in a world right now that's really a lot of it's about instant gratification, for
Yeah.
everything. I want my business to work yesterday. I want
Yeah.
my life to work yesterday. I want everything now. And what I've found over the years is it's every little choice that guides you. It's
Yeah.
each choice we make brings with it awareness if we're willing to be present. And so the creation of my business over the years, like I started facilitating with Access. I had Access really being a massive support
Yeah.
in the way that I was presenting myself to the world. When, without going into the story, that changed, a few years ago, and me having to stand on my own feet and actually create has, man, that has been a learning curve.
Totally. Totally. Because yeah, it's almost like you had your parents, backing you up, and then your parents like, bye bye. Now you
Yeah,
look
like, bye
after
bye, see you later, go on, get out there. And I, yeah, man,
you.
I always grew up with, I grew up with a lot of that energy of, get someone else to create your life for you. you know
Yeah.
and so I was really good at that. I was really good at, well, I don't want to take charge. I don't want to know what's true for me. I don't want to be the one who's responsible for my own choices. And so that also, because I mean, in listening to your introduction in the beginning about each and every one of us doing business differently,
Yeah.
and from a space that's true for us, is such an undervalued point of view.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
And it really is the energy that generates everything in your life, is the uniqueness that each of us are, the difference that each of us are.
Totally. Totally. And you know, well, you mentioned that's it. You had, the backup of access and you were, doing so many other classes at a time. But you also had someone that created Joy Business, Simone Milasses, you had a relationship with her. So you kind
Yeah,
of had that Joy of Business sort of
yeah.
energy with you. Did that it also gave you this aspect of looking at you like, I'm going to create my business? Did you learn something, or even through the energy that Simone was
Oh,
there with you?
totally,
Ah.
totally. I remember, I started Access, and it wasn't that long after Simone and I started a relationship. So, and then we were living together,
Mhm.
and I was, kind of, I was still, there was so much changing for me. Like, I remember I would get up in the morning, and my thing was get up in the morning and be miserable until I could figure my way out through it, all until I could get happy, or at least some version of it. And she would wake up in the morning and just be like, "Oh my God, what am I creating?" And she would have so much energy. And I remember waking up one morning and going to it, "Can you just stop being so happy?" And she just looks at me like, "No, this
I
is."
love that. No.
And so there was so much. But yeah, I mean, she truly did always have, and does have, a joy in business.
Yeah.
you know.
And how do you see that now, the last year or the last 2 years with being a Joy Business facilitator? I mean, you were in the past and you're now again, and really facilitating those classes. How do you see that also, what it's bringing to your business and other people businesses, because you are facilitator of people to create their businesses?
Well, I think if you don't have joy in business, something's off,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like, I know for me, if I don't have joy, I'm not being me. And so I got to recalibrate, you know, look at it and go, okay, what am I creating this for? And you know, and I think for a lot of us, if you're creating for money, you know, if you're creating for, you know, to be liked by others, if you're creating, you got to look at what you're creating for, and is that enough for you? Or what if you're creating for something greater, you know? And so for me, it's like I also had, you know, so much time with Gary Douglas and watching how
Yeah.
he would create different things, and Dane here. And I mean, talk about unique creatures, not only in living, but in business. And the access tools they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm kind of getting present with all of the foundational tools, if you would call it that. At this time of year, I'm just like, one of the tools I've been playing with is interesting point of view. Interesting point of
Me
view. I
too.
have
Yeah.
this point of view because I noticed some different areas, like one with money as an example, where I was having points of view, you
Yeah.
know, and fixed points of view about things. And with the awareness of your point of view creates your reality. Reality does not create your point of view. And it's like, and I'm like, okay, I need to get far more present with this. So I've been, you know, using that tool continuously for the last couple of days and being like, okay, anytime that energy and an energy or a thought or a stress or a worry or any of that stuff comes up, is okay, interesting point of view. I have this point of view.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't know anything else in the world that directly speaks to the energetics of of what goes on for us, and that was what drew me to Access, and why I just, to the best of my ability, live as it. Um, was it spoke to the energy.
Yeah.
You know, because I always wondered as a kid, like I remember as a kid when I was like 5 years old in grade one, and I was sitting there under this tree crying, and I was thinking, I don't remember a day where I wasn't crying.
Uh,
But it wasn't, it wasn't, you know, it was just so much awareness of so many different things, but nobody was talking about awareness.
yeah. 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 And suddenly you see, because that's so cool what you're bringing up. Because when you talk about business, people want to go to the mind and figuring out and having that
Yeah.
planning and so on. And, this is it. You're talking about yourself and the points of view and, what you know and the awarenesses. Um, and so to me it's so cool because you started as a trader, right? And
Hmm.
now you travel around the world, you facilitate classes. If we have someone here that's right in this part that they are leaving their older job, that they are not happy, and they are looking at becoming a therapist, full-time with their business, with their access business and so on. uh, you gave already interesting point of view too, but what question or what tool would you like to share with someone like that? Or where can they look at to see that yes, this transition and this choice can be made?
Well, yeah, I would. So, first of all, one of the things I would do is destroy and uncreate every day all the projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections that you have, but also that others have. Yeah, because see, interesting point of view handles this a lot also, because the way that it works is as soon as you align and agree with or resist and react to a point of view, you basically you become part of it. You create it as reality. You know, you create it as something that cannot change based on now you can only see it from that point. And so this is in looking at the energetics of creation, because we create energetically. Also, we might think it's all the doing that we do,
Yeah. Mm.
you know, and all of that stuff, but it's the energy that's what's behind it all. And so I would. recognize that, because if you look at that, like changing careers, for example, a lot of people see that as like, what are you doing? Like, I remember when I started Access and people were like, why would you need something like that? Why can't you be happy with what you have? So my, my other, uh, my other tools with that would be trust you.
Yeah.
Get a sense of what you would like your life to be like in the next 12 months to 2 years. And then, we have this exercise that we've called like the energy bubble, where basically the way that this works is anything that you can perceive as a possibility, you can receive. So if you can get a sense of what it would be like to, let's say, you're a practitioner. You want to leave your old job, you want to do your practitioner thing, is first of all start out questions with everything. Okay, what are the infinite possibilities with this? What would it take for this to show up? Far greater than I can ever imagine. What can I choose and what can I be today to actualize this right away? So you're in question with it, and you're asking the universe basically to co-create it with you. And then it really is, like I said before, that thing with small choices is recognize when you come to a conclusion and go to question. Recognize when you're in doubt of yourself and use a tool, go to question. And so it becomes about, rather than trying to figure out how you are going to get there, you start following the energy and creating it by being present and in the moment.
That's so great. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a full-on way of looking at um creation of your life in your business. That's for sure.
Totally. And it
Yeah.
it is your life and your business, but it comes with, you have to be willing to trust yourself and also make mistakes. You
Right.
know, uh, get awareness from the choices that you make. Be willing to, one of the things that Gary Douglas has said continuously is, if you want to have success in business, you have to be willing to change.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that is destroy and uncreate your business every day so that you can start again.
Yeah.
Recognize that you can, and in that, you, if what are the infinite possibilities? There's
Exactly.
this story that I don't know if you've heard this, but it's been told in many different business books and things of, the camera brand Kodak many, many years ago, when it started transitioning from film to digital, from film to digital. And Kodak, the camera company, was like, that's not gonna hold, that's not gonna last, and they weren't willing to see the future.
Yeah.
So it started failing because digital took over. And that's when you have a point of view, again, you can't see anything that doesn't match it. You can't receive anything that doesn't match it. And so I think this is what truly creates uh someone in business being on the creative edge, is someone who's willing to change. And being here at Elugar,
Yeah.
like, talk about a business done different.
Totally.
I remember I've been in with this place for, I think the property was found like maybe 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I would
And
say so. Yeah.
yeah, and we were coming here, we were pitching a tent, and we were like going on horse rides and cooking food, and getting people here,
Yeah.
and that was generative energy. It was starting an energy of this place. And so now it's semi-complete, it's a resort, it's open as a resort, and it's changed a lot
Yeah.
over the years. Like, we were here doing classes a couple of months ago, and Gary Douglas was here, the real um, creator of this place. Watching him for 2 weeks just go, change this, do that, just making choice after choice after choice after choice, it was inspiring to see how he does business so different.
Yeah, yeah. And the word, this is the word, inspiring. And yeah, I've worked in with El Lugar project as well a few years.
Oh,
And
you
it's
have
this,
too. That's
I,
right.
I did,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's it. There's no way that something is just stuck. There's a question and let's move on. Let's come up with what's next. And that's definitely, something that we learn with
Yeah.
Access, with the business that we creating there. And so tell me something before we go, Brendan. Do you have a Joy Business class coming up or in the next
You
year?
know what? I'm starting a 3 month business money
Ah,
and profit like membership thing, a 3 month thing that's going to be cool. That's not out there yet. It's being created, but that's mid-January that starts. And then I'm doing at this point I think I'm doing a business done different class with Amanda Anderson, who is another Joy of Business facilitator
yeah,
in
she spoke with
February.
me. That's so cool. Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting better. Well, I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I'm so happy that you came along because, you're the only man that came and talks to me. I was like,
The only man?
what?
Oh my
The
goodness.
only Joy Business, representing the male side. And I'm so happy because I've worked with you in the past and I've seen you changing so much. And I'm so grateful for you because you give so much just in 20 minutes you gave so much tools and the energy that you are is very
Thank you.
inspiring and really
Thank you.
a gift to the universe
Well, and
really.
I will say too, like if some people, when it comes to business, like if I was looking at, okay, I want to change careers. I want to, I want to be enthused. Like I really want to live and create business. I want to do something that's fun and exciting for me. I would say start consuming some of the tools that we have. Like
Yeah,
Write Riches for You,
oh,
phenomenal
yeah,
book. Joy of Business, amazing. There's Access Me, like this is the gold mine, this thing, because there's a class on there. I think it's called like 12 Steps to Business or something like that.
yeah, yeah, there is
But
a
it's Gary Douglas on it is your encyclopedia of business tools.
there is and even if you're like, oh, but I'm not paying, until I change and I create, there's
Well,
stuff in the YouTube, isn't there?
you
Is
know what
there?
I would say, to that? Interesting point of view. I have that point of view.
Exactly. And we end with a mic drop of a two. Thank you so much, Brendon. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining me.
Leandro. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye.